He won over 7 furlongs off a mark of 65. He won over today's trip of a mile off 71. He's about a stone higher here this afternoon, and that's because he's been in good form. He shouldered a penalty in the Carlisle Bell recently, and he's actually dropped a couple of pounds today with his new mark kicking in, because he had that penalty for the success from the front at Redcar. Number 2, Cassio, David Allen and Tim Easterby. And finally, number 3, Gweedore. He's Katie Scott's stable star. He's back on his last winning mark, which came in April at Musselburgh. He had a busy week last week. After a month off, he came back to form with a bang when just getting headed in the post at Musselburgh on Wednesday after leading approaching the final furlong. And then the very next day, he turned out fresh as paint at Haydock and again finished second, beaten a length after leading approaching the final furlong. He got headed about 100 yards from the finish that day. So he comes here in really good form, Gweedore. He stands his racing pretty well, and he's a 3-time winner here at Ayr. So they're on their way to post for a feature race at Ayr. It's the £15,000 seriously fun, like it summer mile handicap, and a good renewal as well. Redana was the winner of this particular race 12 months ago for Diane Sayre and Jimmy Sullivan. This time it's a pretty open renewal with Gweedore, our current favourite, on 94. We got Cassio on 4-1 and Orban 11-2. A horse that's been drifting. I wonder if that's because of worries about the ground. 61 sweeping and 13-2 bar those. Maybe the Carlisle Bell is the race that holds the key to this particular race, because we had a couple of the runners that reopposed today involved. In fact, we've got three of them, haven't we? Because Tommy G was a keen free-going front runner in the historic Carlisle Bell, and invincibly ran out the winner of that race, with Tilsit, who's in 4th place, and Cassio in 5th. Cassio, who was anchored out the back as he shouldered that £5 penalty for an all-the-way success at Redcar. And Cassio could be one of the speed angles here, along with Tommy G. Gweedore normally races fairly prominently as well. So there's quite a few of them reopposing after Carlisle, and Gweedore, following a month off, he ran back-to-back days last week, and he's been given 3 days off by Katie Scott, and he's going again here this afternoon with Jason Hart on board. Sweeping, incidentally, 1 from 1 under Paul Mulrennan, because Paul was on board when he gained a comfortable success in a Catrick Maiden last August, sent off a 4-1 on favourite that day.
Here's the scene at Ayr. Gweedore 2-1, the favourite for this seriously fun, like it's summer mile handicap, and 85-40 the price now. Cassio 4-1, Orban at 11-2 from 5s, Tills at 6s, strong in the betting, and 13-2 and big at the rest. A field of 9. They all go, and they're down at the start. Here's Gordon.
Thanks, Rachel. It's our feature race here today at Ayr. They'll be starting to load shortly. I think they've already started to go behind. The Carlisle Bell form is an offie here. The historic race ran at Carlisle just the other day, 11 days ago to be precise, because invincibly our winner that day was chased home by Tommy G in 2nd place, who was a free-going leader until finishing a length and a quarter behind the winner. So Tommy G's in the race today. Tilsit, owned by some of the racecourse management team here at Ayr, goes again, and Tilsit was in 4th place that day, had every chance coming to the 1 pole, and flattened out to take an honourable 4th. And Cassio is in the race again here today, and he finished in 5th place. He was in the Carlisle Bell with a £5 penalty for an all-the-way success at Redcar just 5 days earlier. He's got his revised mark, and he's actually racing off a £2 lower rating for that banging form stable of Tim Easterby. He's won a couple of times at Ayr as well, has Cassio. If you go back to 2020, he won here over 7 furlongs off a mark of 65, and then he was a winner over today's trip of a mile off a mark of 71. He's about a stone higher here this afternoon, but the stable can do no wrong. And what about Gweedore? Caught in the line last Wednesday at Musselburgh, and then turned out the next day fresh as paint at Haydock Park by Katie Scott, and only went under by a length. He's back in his winning mark, and those runs last week were his first for about a month, and he's very much the apple of Katie Scott's eye. Tommy G's a bit of a standing dish here at Ayr, incidentally, for Jim Goldie. He's a 7-time winner at the track, over 6 furlongs, over 7 furlongs, and over a mile course and distance winner, of course. He disappointed, I thought, just 4 days ago at Musselburgh, although he had a nightmare passage through. That was on Wednesday, over 7 furlongs. Not many left to load. Let's go back to Alan for our feature race.
And they're off. Racing away for today's feature, the £15,000 seriously fun Lickett's at Summer Mile Handicap Stakes. And showing out in front early on is Sweeping in the yellow and blue colours. Leads over Gweedore in 2nd. Dark blue and pink are Dulabati in 3rd with the noseband. The green and blue Tilsit with the cheek pieces in 4th. Couple of lengths then back to Cassio in the blue silks ahead of Subjective Value. Yellow sleeves and cap for Orban, then Tommy G, and Bashful in light green and white under Andrew Mullin is in the final position. They raced away towards the final 5 furlongs, and Sweeping and Paul Mulrennan lead by 2 lengths over Gweedore in second, who in turn then is 2.5 lengths clear from Dulabati in third, Tilsit fourth just before the turn in. Then Casio and Subjective Value ahead of Tommy G and Orban, and Bashful still at the rear of the field. Racing back towards the top of the home straight then, and Sweeping leads from Gweedore in second, Tilsit and Dulabati there third and fourth. Ridden along for more is Casio, then Subjective Value in light green in front of Orban. He's now trying to move up into contention. Tommy G and Bashful the next ones as they make their way down towards the final quarter mile. Sweeping still with the lead. Gweedore looking to challenge around the outside. Tilsit back in third, then Dulabati in the staying on Orban. They're racing down towards the final furlong. Gweedore has come through now to lead from Sweeping. Then came Orban and Tilsit, and then Tommy G running on from a long way back with a half a furlong to go. It's Gweedore under Jason Hart, who leads by a good couple of lengths, and Gweedore will go on to win. Gweedore has beaten Orban, Tilsit third, then Tommy G and Sweeping.
Well, Katie Scott will be bursting with excitement. She can barely contain herself when the horse finishes second. She'll be over the moon that he's won for the 8th time today. Jason Hart winning on the horse for the 3rd time, and he's won probably as cosy as he's ever won. Through from Orban. There was a bit of a worry about the ground for Orban, the top weight, who's finished in 2nd place. Then we've got Tilsit for 3rd. It looks as if Tommy G has taken 4th place. But Gweedore, what a horse. Remember, he had a month off before coming back to form with a bang at Musselburgh last Wednesday. Like today, led about a torch in the final furlong. He headed on the post on that occasion, and then he turned out to run a big race in 2nd place at Haydock just 24 hours later. He's back in the winner's enclosure here this afternoon. The pace set by Sweeping, who was back in trip after finishing well beaten at both Royal Ascot and on Derby Day in handicaps over 1.25 miles at Epsom. Here he is back to 1 mile this afternoon, and from the front Paul Mulrennan, who knows the horse. He won a maiden on him last year at Thirsk, but he's just about to be collared and tackled by Gweedore approaching the final furlong, and Gweedore quickly goes on by a length or two, and the race is pretty much put to bed. Spot on the left, Tommy G coming from off the pace. He was ridden more prominently a couple of runs back, but he's come through to finish in 4th place. But Orban takes 2nd, well beaten by Gweedore. Tilsit, like in the Carlisle Bell, I don't think any excuses. He was in the perfect position. You can see his cheek pieces there. He's just on the shoulder of Gweedore if he was good enough today. But a well-supported winner, Gweedore, for Katie Scott and for Jason Hart in the Lamont Racing colours. Widest of all, you can see Tommy G coming through for 4th places. Casio, well, he never really got prominent or in contention or had a chance today, really. He's dropping out fairly tamely. One that did stick on to 2nd place, I suppose you could say, Orban. Maybe not the ground to his liking today, probably prefers it a little bit softer. But what can you say about Gweedore? The stable